I spoke to him early in the morning yesterday, and he was quite depressed over an unbelievable series of events involving the media. Well, I think it's wrong to say that. That was actually coincidental. The motive, the goal of it, as he had been so unfairly presented in the media as being sort of, shabby and rubbishy. I think photographers purposely looked for the most unflattering photographs. They took photographs of locations, houses that are not even his. There was one that had a fire recently and had rubbish outside. They suggested it was his. Clearly it's not. It was quite a distance away. I think my father's really suffered at the hands of the media. They've presented him in the most horrible ways, highly inaccurate, and the goal of those photographs was basically because he was feeling defenseless. They had the advantage of portraying them however they wanted, which was entirely inaccurate. And I think a person has a right to say, wait a minute, enough is enough. I want to be portrayed how I really am. The mistake that he made was refusing to do interviews and allowing the media to absolutely rake him over the coals to the extent that he was defenseless and they had distorted his image. It was entirely unjust, and I think he had the right to defend himself and get to the point where he wanted to say, no, they have an obligation, an ethical obligation to allow me to be portrayed as I am, living a healthy lifestyle, not caught in unflattering positions as media vultures had done, and that was the goal. He was living a very quiet, peaceful life, not as a recluse, not as a, he's a very intelligent man. He's been gregarious and worked in entertainment for 40 years. He wanted peace and quiet. He was avoiding the media. He had spoken with press and was doing just that. But when he calls me panicking on the freeway because he's in a dangerous situation, being followed by 7 or 8 cars, I think there have been examples in history of how dangerous that can be. And so he was so stressed out, they rented the house next to him in Mexico, 4 or 5 of them. He can't open his blinds, he can't go anywhere without being followed. And really, it's quite atrocious and intrusive. And I think it's highly unethical. He was really having heart pains and suffered a heart attack. It was an unbelievable amount of stress. By his report, they were stabilizing him. I think he wants to go to the hospital and get checked out. I don't know as of today what his plans are, but there's a very real concern. I wanted to see him go. I didn't want him deprived of that, but clearly the priority should be whether or not it's safe for him to do that. So that's where we're at.
I'll get that little piece of dandruff.